So what's really on the other end of one of those scam calls? It's not just some lone trickster in a dark basement. No, it's a massive, highly organized, multi-billion-dollar shadow industry. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how this whole thing really, truly operates. It almost always starts with something you've probably seen 100 times, that big flashing pop-up on your computer screen. It's got a fake logo, maybe from Microsoft or Amazon, screaming about a virus and telling you to call a toll-free number for help right now. Well, that little pop-up, that's the front door to a massive and, honestly, a disturbingly professional operation. And this quote right here, it cuts right to the heart of the whole thing. We're going to be following the story of someone deep on the inside, a man we're calling Arif. His words just lay it all out there. The incredible, almost magnetic pull of the money, which really sets up the central conflict of this entire system. So, who is this guy, Arif? Well, he's 29. He's a school dropout from Haryana in northern India. And, like millions of others, he found himself jobless during the pandemic. This whole thing started as just a temporary gig, but yeah, it quickly became a lot more permanent. Now get this, that salary, which is about 40 to 60,000 rupees a month, might not sound like a huge fortune to some of us, but where Arif lives, it's absolutely life-changing. It's more money than his own father ever made in his entire life doing legitimate work. And that right there, that's the economic reality that powers the engine of this entire industry. Okay, so let's zoom out from Arif for a second and look at the bigger picture. How on earth did India become the global epicenter for this kind of thing? Well, it definitely wasn't an accident. It was more like a perfect storm of social and economic factors, all coming together at once. And here's a key ingredient in that storm. Just look at this number. According to a 2024 report from the International Labour Organization, a staggering 83% of all of India's unemployed are young people. With so few opportunities in the formal economy, you have millions of people just desperate for any way to make a living. So you see how all the pieces start to fit together, right? You've got this huge pool of young, tech-savvy people who can speak English. You combine that with the explosion of cheap smartphones and affordable internet. The chances of getting caught are really low, the potential rewards are incredibly high, and finding a stable, legit job is almost impossible. It is a powerful and really dangerous combination. And as cybersecurity expert Vivek Verma says, the barrier to entry is just dangerously low. I mean, think about it. You don't need a fancy degree, you don't need a huge investment. All you need is a phone, a laptop, and access to the right groups on Telegram. It's desperation meeting a very, very accessible opportunity. And all that desperation, it fuels an operation that's built to look a lot less like a crime and way more like a corporation. Seriously, these are not just small-time hustles. They are structured, professional, and disturbingly well-organized businesses. Just look at this comparison. On the left, you've got a legitimate BPO, a business process outsourcing company. On the right, a scam call center. They're identical. Both have HR departments, quality assurance teams, training rooms, and daily performance targets. They are literally mimicking the structure of legitimate businesses, right down to the letter. And this corporate mindset is just shocking. This is a real sample dashboard from a CRM system that these scam centers use. They track KPIs, key performance indicators, just like any other sales team. FTD stands for first-time depositor. That's a new victim. Retention is even darker. That means convincing someone you've already scammed to pay you again. It's a sales funnel, but it's a sales funnel for fraud. So how does the classic scam actually play out? Well, it's a pretty simple 5-step process. First, that pop-up gets you to call. Then the agent, pretending to be tech support, convinces you to give them remote access to your computer. That's when they find all these viruses and errors that aren't even there, creating a sense of total panic. And finally, they guide you to a fake payment page to fix the problem that never existed in the first place. Now, when you have an industry operating at this scale, raking in billions of dollars every year, it was only a matter of time before international law enforcement started paying very close attention, and the response has turned into this huge global game of cat and mouse. Yeah, this isn't seen as some low-level nuisance anymore. The authorities are now treating it for what it is: transnational organized crime. The FBI, Interpol, and police in India are now teaming up, conducting joint raids, and targeting these massive syndicates that use international borders to try and stay one step ahead of the law. But here's the thing. Just as the authorities get better at catching them, the criminals adapt. And their latest tool is an absolute game changer: artificial intelligence.
This technology is letting them create scams that are more sophisticated, more believable, and more terrifying than ever before.
And the core technology making this all possible is the deepfake. We're talking about AI-generated video or audio that can realistically mimic anyone. So all of a sudden, a scammer doesn't just sound like they're from your bank, they can actually look like your grandson on a video call. The famous YouTuber and scam baiter Jim Browning actually ran into one of these recently. He was on a Zoom call with a scammer who was using a deepfake. The guy's face looked totally real, but then Browning asked him to do something super simple, just hold 3 fingers up in front of his face. The AI couldn't handle it. The scammer refused, and then poof, he was gone. It just shows you how convincing, and sometimes how fragile, this new tech can be. And deepfakes are just one tool in their new AI toolbox. Scammers are now using AI-powered robocalls that can hold actual conversations, they're generating fake passports and IDs that look flawless, and they're using AI voice cloning, which, by the way, only needs a few seconds of a real person's audio to perfectly mimic the voice of a loved one in a fake emergency. But, and this is a really hopeful twist, that same technology is being turned right back against the scammers. The cybersecurity world is now literally fighting fire with fire, using AI to go after these criminal networks. And one of the cleverest examples is this AI bot called Daisy. She is designed to do just one thing: waste scammers' time. Daisy can get them into these long, rambling, nonsensical conversations, tying up their phone lines so they can't call real people. She learns their scripts, she adapts, and as her creators programmed her to say, she's got all the time in the world. So after we've looked at the tech and the corporate structures and the global crackdown, we have to come back to where we started all this. We have to come back to the people. Because this entire industry, on both sides of that phone line, is built on a very human foundation. And this brings us to the final, really unsettling question. When you have a system that leaves millions of young, capable people with no real path to a stable income, who's truly to blame? Is it the individual who makes a choice that they know is wrong? Or is it the economic system that left them with so few choices to begin with? And at the end of the day, we're left with Arif's own words. He's not proud of what he does, but with the money he made from scamming, his sister was able to get married and he bought his very first bike. He's not proud, but he's not broke either. And that simple, powerful statement just perfectly captures the entire complex, troubling reality of this global shadow industry.